Welcome back, everybody. I'm Shawn CPA.
And I'm Kevin Breeze.
And today we have a new video for you. This is going to be a good one. Kev, what's it on?
Yeah, so the topic of this video, essentially it's going to be a discussion about social media, and especially with trying to find the right balance of using social media so that it is a good aspect of your life and not something that completely controls your life. I feel like at some point, whether it's you or me or probably anyone even watching, social media can really build upon itself to the extent where it's like every 5 seconds you're checking your phone, you're going on, a different tab to check your Facebook or whatever it is. So we just want to have a discussion here about what we've both done to get a better grip on our social media usage so that it's not a negative aspect in our lives.
Definitely. I guess by the time this airs, my other video called Why I Quit Social Media in 2021, a rant, should have gone live. So if you want more details on my personal reasons for quitting, definitely go check that video out. I'll put a link somewhere to it.
For sure.
But
I got a question for you.
Go for it.
So when would you say was the peak period in your life where you feel like you were on social media the most? And when I say on social media, I mean for personal reasons.
Like consuming
content on social media. Yeah, not doing anything that really helps you professionally or creatively, just browsing feeds, liking pictures, getting into debates, all that stuff. When would you say was the peak of like it being the worst for you?
Definitely 2020 in the pandemic, because we had transitioned to working from home. So when you're in the office, there's like this conscious thing of like, I don't want to be the guy that's sitting around at his desk with his phone out where everybody's walking by and they can see me being stupid on social media. But when I'm working from home, there was like anytime I would like be working on a project and I would get to like a stopping point where I'm like, I can't figure this out. You know what? I deserve a break. I would get up and walk 10 feet to where my bed is, because my desk is in my bedroom. And I would like sit on my bed and go on like Instagram or TikTok or something for like 15 minutes as a break. Mm-hmm. And slowly but surely this turned into, I would do that probably like every hour. When I was working from home, I'd take like a 15 or 20 minute social media break, because it's just so much easier to be like, what an annoying email I just got. This sucks. You know what? Whatever. Like I'm just gonna, because I'm already in like a comfortable environment where I'm at home and there's nobody watching what I'm doing.
Sure.
Of course, I would still get my work done and everything like that, but it was easier to give in to the temptation to just like get into my phone, like just sit there and zone out of everything and zone into social media.
And I think that kind of is the general premise too of this discussion, is the temptation. Whether it's social media or anything else for that matter, there's always going to be temptations out there that are going to give you an immediate dopamine rush.
Exactly.
And life is really all about putting things in the right balance where you have control over what you're doing. You don't just chase those dopamine rushes by going on Instagram and seeing what new stories popped up, or going on Facebook and seeing whatever's going on in there. It's all about self-control. So you made some changes lately, to my understanding?
Yeah, so starting in 2021, I just completely left all my personal social media accounts. I still have my business ones, such as this YouTube page. And if you came here through my link on Twitter, or if you're watching this on my Facebook, those pages are still active. But any content that gets pushed out on there is through Buffer. Mm-hmm. And I'm just uploading it like from a desktop. So I'm not actually looking at any feeds or like looking at my mentions or actually engaging with content. The only time I engage with content is if somebody is like tweeting me when I tweet the video, and they're like, oh, nice video. I'll like retweet that to obviously promote the video, but I'm not going back and forth with people on their opinions. I'm not in my DMs. I'm not on any feeds or anything.
Basically, you went pretty much cold turkey, and
I went fully dark.
Any personal reasons for using social media, you've pretty much abandoned, and then you've completely focused on using social media just for professional development. Obviously, I don't think anyone could argue against that with the way things are nowadays, with many things being online. you pretty much have to have some sort of presence, whether it's on LinkedIn, but even some
Yeah.
of the other platforms that typically weren't used so much for professional development, like Facebook, Instagram, honestly, even TikTok nowadays. People are meeting other people to collab on different projects. And, there are a lot of benefits to at least being on social media when it comes to professional development. But I think that's the biggest issue, is that when you're spending more time on social media for personal purposes, just to entertain yourself, and you're not on social media for personal development purposes, then that's when it becomes a bit more of a problem.
Yeah. Like,
now, how's that experience been for you so far? You're in about, week 3 or week 4?
Yeah, week 3 or week 4. It's awesome because in my opinion, I think people, when you tell them to they should quit social media, they freak out. They're like, what? Like, that's crazy. Mm-hmm. After you don't go on social media for 5-6 days, you forget that it's there. Like, you don't, honestly, it's it doesn't, I kind of forget that I'm off of it. Mm-hmm. Because the thing is, when you're on social media, 99% of the time, and for 99% of people, they're not gaining any sort of valuable information.
Sure.
So when you take that information away from them, there's no noticeable difference.
And you could argue as well that, for the majority of 2020 and especially early 2021, there's not really a whole lot to even check out on social media. Let's face it.
Well, you got
our friends, I'm sure the friends of people that are watching this as well, family, no one's doing anything interesting. I mean, to be honest,
and
at least prior to the pandemic, there were a lot of people posting about different vacations they went on, cool events they went to. And of course, that doesn't really bring me any value directly, but sometimes it is kind of nice. And I know that there's also a bad side of this as well.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's kind of nice to know, what do other people do? A lot of the hobbies that I've picked up over the years came from me seeing what other people do, and that kind of gave me an idea of what I want to do. For example, going on vacation somewhere. Yeah. You might not think of going to a certain city or a certain state or country for that matter, but if you see people that nice. See people posting about that, I mean, that is a value. But I would say it's pretty safe to say that at least for the last year, roughly, there really isn't much exciting stuff. I mean, going on. So
what I noticed is,
you think it makes it easier with the pandemic? Do you think that makes it easier for you to go cold turkey?
I think it's the opposite. I think
harder. Okay.
Because here's what I noticed. One, being on social media, you just have a more clear head. Your mind is just clear. Because what I realized is that humans can only intake, maintain, and record a certain amount of data. The human brain can only handle so much data. When you're constantly taking in new data, whether it's watching somebody's stories and saying, oh, this guy that I never talked to got a coffee this morning, this guy's in a meeting, this guy, it's his dad's birthday or something, this girl, it's her anniversary. It's all this meaningless data that actually doesn't impact your life at all.
Sure.
If you knew it or you didn't know it, your life would be the exact same without it. That data is taking the place of more important data in your mind, because your mind can only hold a certain amount of data. I think people think their mind is it's unlimited storage.
It's not.
It's more like the cloud.
Nope.
And for your mind to hold that extra data, you have to purge other data. Same with attention. Your attention is very valuable. You can put your attention, people think multitasking is a thing. It's not. If you look at all the studies, the more you multitask, the less you actually get done. The human mind cannot do multiple things at once. Multiple focus oriented things. You can't work on 2 projects at once. You can work on one project, pause that, take a transition time, then work on the second project. So what I noticed is, with social media, you're giving away that attention, that finite amount of attention in your mind. You're giving that away, and you're giving away the knowledge space, kind of.
The knowledge?
Yeah, the knowledge.
Knowledge.
Yeah.
As Tyler
here in my garage.
Yeah.
So here in my garage, I don't do social media, but yeah. So I noticed it takes away your attention, so you can't focus on the important things you need to focus on. You can't remember the important things you need to remember because you're remembering nonsense information. And I forgot where I was going with this. Oh, the pandemic thing. I think people are more on social media now in the pandemic because they have less to do in their physical reality. So I think even though other people aren't doing anything exciting for you to watch, you're on social media more because you're bored. Maybe you would have gone to the gym, but in your state, the gyms are closed. So now you're on TikTok for that extra hour of the day.
Right.
or you would have gone out and got drinks with your friends, but you can't do that. So now you're on YouTube or on Netflix, or not that Netflix is social media, but like you're on Twitter.
Sure.
So I think it's even worse for people.
Now, I will say, I think some platforms are probably better than other platforms. Now, this isn't throwing shade at any particular platform. This is just from my experience. You know, it does seem like Facebook is probably by far the most negative of all the platforms as far as negative energy. Yeah. And I think that's another thing, too, that maybe we kind of mentioned that, but not so much. The biggest issue that I have is negative energy. It's contagious. So if you're trying to keep a positive mindset, which, let's face it, if you want any sort of success, you've got to have a positive mindset. Yeah. And if you're just seeing, you know, post after post of negativity, and obviously there are plenty of negative things going on. So I'm not saying that you should be in some sort of bubble and have no clue what's going on, but on the other hand, if you just take in negative things after negative things all day, you're going to be negative yourself.
And that's the big thing that I don't think people realize is that stuff impacts you. Like people think like, oh, I can see a tweet about all these like child refugees in Syria dying and it doesn't affect my mood. It's like, you might not feel it immediately, but that data is in your mind. You're going to think about that subconsciously while you're sleeping that night. Like that, it affects you. That's what I noticed with social media. Even if you're seeing positive stuff all day, and I talk about this in my rant video, you might see like a positive meme thing on IG about how, like, fun fact, Bill Gates was a billionaire at age 30. You might be like, oh, that's cool, like whatever. But somewhere in the back of your like subconscious, that data is being, you're thinking to yourself, you're like, damn, I'm not a billionaire. I'm almost 30. Like, you might not know that you're thinking it, but your mind is comparing yourself to the information that you're intaking. So people think they take it at like face value, but that stuff is like, it's mainly subconscious. Like if you see negative energy every day, if you see somebody complaining about how awful their life is every day on Facebook.
That's kind of more the example. I was like,
what I'm saying, it ties together. Is that,
no, I know it is. Yeah, that's true.
If you see people in long form, especially on Facebook, you see like 3 paragraphs from all these different people complaining about how awful their life is, how they got laid off from their job, how their uncle just died from COVID, all this stuff. If that's all you're seeing all day, even if you're like, whatever, I'm mentally tough, on a subconscious level, you don't even know it, but it's negatively impacting your energy.
Exactly.
Like I hate to be the vibes guy, but it does affect your mood.
Now, obviously, you can't totally escape reality. Like, you have to be aware of what's going on, and, you know, you don't, but there's a spectrum to it. You know, if on the far end of the spectrum where all you see is negativity all the time and you engage with that negativity, like if someone posts something on Facebook, like something, you know, with negative vibes, and then you add to it, it's not going to help you at all.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I mean, that's probably the biggest one. I mean, I will say like other apps like TikTok, there's a lot less negativity on there. Yeah. I feel like for the most part,
that's mainly for
a lot of that content. Yeah, it's like laughing and stuff. So that's actually kind of good.
Mindless, but it's mindless.
Oh, it's definitely mindless, but at least it's not negative. Like mindless negativity is like the furthest on the spectrum as far as like being terrible.
Yeah, mindless positivity is definitely less bad, but it's still not good.
Sure.
So this is kind of like what we were talking about off camera, is like, just because you get off social media, it doesn't mean you're productive now.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, just because you're not looking at bad content doesn't mean you're better off by looking at positive content. Really, where you should be is like a net neutral, which is like you're completely fine without external data. I think too many people rely on external data via social media.
Yeah.
If you take their phone away from them, they can't just get up and like walk around their house, do something, you know, go for a walk. Like they need constant stimulation from outside sources.
Yeah. And that's true.
Yeah.
Well, here's another interesting thing too. Negativity, that's not strictly, from what I've seen, strictly from people on their personal accounts. I've seen people on professional accounts being negative as well, which makes no sense to me at all. I know for sure. I mean, I've you know, this has been a priority of mine for a while, but I pretty much have this rule of, you know, no negativity online. You know, maybe in like a private chat or a one-to-one message, if I had something negative pop up, you know, I'll talk to a friend about it, but no statuses, no tweets that are negative. And that actually takes discipline. That's harder to do than you'd think. So I have this new rule where if I'm going to tweet, first thing is, obviously I have to think about it immediately. Is this negative or is this positive? And if I easily can tell it's negative, I don't tweet it.
Yeah.
And if I'm not so
Nobody needs to
sure,
see that.
I'll wait for like 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, and just leave not post the tweet, just keep it
Like as
on
draft.
a tab or draft. Yeah, on a draft.
Uh-huh.
And then at that point, then I'll decide like, does this add value to the world? Does this send positive vibes? Does this help people?
Yeah.
And if it doesn't check any of those boxes, then I don't see a need to post it. And also, even if it's not negative or positive, as far as the vibe of it goes,
Yeah.
I still think about, is this of value to someone? Is me sharing this info going to give them info that they wouldn't have gotten anywhere else? And if the answer to that's no, then I don't share it. Like for example, if there's some news story that's trending nationally or internationally, why would you share? Like, why share it? Because everyone already knows. Like, people know the big things that are going on.
And that was
I don't understand like retweeting something or reposting or whatever. I just don't.
I know what you mean.
I don't see like if like a lot of the info that I see people sharing, and I know it's all innocent. No one's doing this on purpose, but a lot of the info I see being shared, it's stuff I already know.
Yeah.
Like it's
Well,
like
that's what I mean.
like if it's on the homepage of a major news website, I don't need you helping me by sharing it in my feed. I already know what's going on.
Yeah. And that's what I mean is like anything, when I got off social media, I knew if anything major happened, that the people I do talk to in real life would just tell me. Like you or Sab would just text it into a group chat, or like my parents or like, other friends that I'm in group chats with would just tell me. And I feel like we've been going for a while, so I want to shift gears a little bit just to...
Yeah, and I didn't even go over my method of getting out of social media.
That's what I want to... So I want to talk now about the different approaches to lowering your social media exposure.
For sure.
So I talked about how mine is just going cold turkey, I'm just off the apps until I feel like there's a point for me to be on them. So far, I don't think that point might
now, do you have
ever
an end
come.
date for this?
I said generally...
Or a minimum at least?
I said generally for 2021 minimum, I would definitely do a couple months, but I don't see the benefit of going back. Like so far, like I don't miss anything about social media other than the convenience of like sometimes you do want to just do something dumb. You want to sit on your couch and
if you had like a
through
night
TikTok.
out or something like that, it's kind of cool if like if your friend posted on their story like you're there and then like, you can like repost or whatever. But
but it's
even
like
that. Yeah, that's even a
I
little
find
silly.
anytime that I'm craving to use social media, it's just to fill up time that I could be doing something better.
It's true.
So it's like if during the middle of the day, if I want to like I want to scroll through IG, it's like you just want to get out of the work year that just got challenging in front of you, or like you should go grocery shopping, but you just feel lazy. It's like, so there's really nothing that I've missed out on, in my opinion. So I don't know when I'll go back. Maybe never, but maybe at the end of the year, or maybe in 6 months or something. I don't know.
Okay.
But what's your method?
Well, yeah, one last thing I was going to say about your method. Here's the thing. If you're going cold turkey, go cold turkey.
Commit.
After, if you're back on after like a week, like, I'm sorry, that's just sad. Like, I think we've all, I turned 26 in December.
I'm turning 26 in like 2 months.
Yeah. Okay. It doesn't matter any age for that matter, but if you don't have a level of self-control where you can't follow like a simple goal like that at our age or really any age, but especially once you're getting your late 20s, it's like, I don't know what to say. Like,
no, I don't know. Dude, that's a whole different video we need to get into, is just about people's self-discipline.
Yeah. Also, don't make goals that you're not going to fulfill. But anyway, that's a whole separate. I can mention what I did.
Yeah. So what's your method for reducing your social media?
So I would say my peak of social media, just checking my phone, all that nonsense, right? I would say my peak was probably in like 2017, where it was like, oh, like it's been 3 minutes. I better check Facebook and see what's going on, right?
Yeah.
And also, it didn't help that I would get tons of notifications as well. So that was probably my peak. And ever since then, I feel like my level of engagement on my personal social feeds has been going down and down and down. Now, for my professional social media accounts, ideally, I want to go up and up and up when it comes to that.
Yeah.
because
that's your business.
that's my business. Yeah, exactly. So
this is my business too, I guess.
Yeah. So anyway, actually, what's interesting too about me being essentially a social media influencer, like it or not, I guess it made it easier for me to ditch my personal feeds because I can post on my professional feeds and make money from it.
Yeah.
So once I started to realize, like, wait a minute, I make money by doing social media on my, accounts related to my business, then why would I post on my personal stuff when I have nothing to gain from it?
Yeah.
But it wasn't that easy to really tone down my social media usage. So what I started by doing was, I think I had like 3,000 friends on Facebook in about 2017, 2018, somewhere around there. So I started to look through my friends list, and this was after I graduated from college, by the way. I graduated in early 2017. So, I went through my friends list and I was like, wait a minute, like most of these people I like met one time 3 years ago, or like,
exactly.
I don't even like, or maybe it's like someone maybe it's someone like, yeah, basically if I only kept like people that I see on a regular basis or people I actually like, or obviously family as well, it was a very small percentage of the actual people that I was friends with. And the problem with that is that by having all these extra friends, it was just more notifications, more posts that would show up in my feed. And oftentimes too, it would almost block out posts that I would not see from people I cared about. Yeah, exactly. So,
and I just want to interject real quick. That is a big thing. I noticed that too when I was about to quit, is that I'm seeing people who I might have met them at a party once, or like they might have been a friend of somebody who's my friend's friend that I met one time and we followed each other. And now I'm seeing this guy's daily routine every day, and I'm never going to see them again in my life. Probably. I don't care about them. But for some reason, I'm subjecting myself to seeing this guy's coffee order, to seeing his dog, things I don't care about. And I think that people don't understand how mentally draining that can be when you just are watching a bunch of strangers every day.
Well, so the thing too is like the stranger part, it really is a legit stranger, because like a good chunk of these people, they weren't even people that I had even met in real life. Like they were like people where it's like, oh, we have like 60 mutual friends, and like they added me as a friend, and like,
or they're going to go to ASU too.
Yeah. So like, or they're in my dorm hall, and like I never hung out with them then, but I was still friends with them. Yeah. So my point is like, it's not like someone like, oh, you live in New York City now, like, oh, when I'm there next time, I'll hit you up and we'll hang out. Like, it's not even like that. It's like, even if I was in their own city, assuming they don't live in my city, well, if I hit them up, it'd be like, who are you?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So I was like, okay. So I got rid of all those people, and that pretty much brought me down like under 700 friends. And then from there,
it's a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a lot of people removed. But also then from there, I started removing people if they were negative all the time. Or if I really couldn't remove them for whatever reason, you can actually unfollow their page on Facebook so that you're still friends with them, but their stuff doesn't show up in your feed. But I also unfollowed a ton of pages too on Facebook. So, I remember back when I was way younger, like you almost wanted to like every page.
Yeah,
what do they call it back then? Being a fan or whatever.
Yeah, it was like.
So I had all these pages, and
it'd be like, I'm a fan of like Oreos.
Yeah,
like, oh, it's my personality. It's like,
and it was like every time. Well, then after they started doing notifications for live streams, it was like every time one of these pages went live, I got a notification about it.
Brrr, like.
Yeah, exactly. So when my phone is like notifications like every 3 seconds, like I'm gonna go on the app more. So I started. There's not really like an easy way, at least not that I'm aware of, to unfollow a bunch of pages. But anytime I saw like Oreos pop up in my feed or whatever, or like McDonald's, like I just unliked them.
Yeah.
And then same thing with news outlets as well. I can get the news. I don't have to follow news outlets on social media to get the news. So
yeah, you can literally just download one app for that or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
like the news app on the iPhone.
We are starting to run out of time.
So anyway, I guess to kind of close out my point, I naturally started using social media less as I started this same thing applies to Instagram as well. And I don't even have a personal Twitter. So yeah, basically as I unfollowed more and more people, there were less distractions and less reasons to go on because there was less to see. So that made it pretty easy. So
you were just like less
I never went cold turkey quite like you, and I probably could if I wanted to. It wouldn't be a big deal. But at this point, it's not getting in the way of any goals that I have by being on social media for personal purposes. So I don't see a need to make any changes. But like I said, just removing people or unfollowing pages in large quantities really made a big difference. And one other thing too, just because you unfriend someone, assuming you hadn't met them or whatever, that doesn't mean like you can never re-add them as a friend again.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people, they would understand anyway, like especially if they've never even met you. Like if they see that you remove them as a friend, like I don't think people are just going to jump to the conclusion that you really don't like them or something like that, because you could always, again, like if you bumped into them in public or something like that and like, hey, I recognize you from the dorms.
Yeah.
You could be like, oh yeah, like let's be friends or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you can refriend them and refollow them and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's not as dramatic as people make it seem like it is. But okay, that was awesome. So just to follow up on your point and then wrap this up, I think you said it perfectly, is it makes sense for some people to get off social media if it's getting in the way of their goals, and other people might not have a problem, so it's not an issue. We're in two different places in our lives, so it makes sense that our habits are different because we're on separate tracks, and you're a little further ahead on certain aspects.
Right.
Where I need more time. So for me, it makes sense to go cold turkey. You, it's not really a big deal. So same to like the people out there, if you're trying to get somewhere in life and you're having a hard time, you definitely don't need to be you don't need 6 hours of screen time on your phone.
Yeah.
That's only getting in the way. But if you're fine and social media is not negatively impacting you, to your knowledge, because you might not know, but you should know, like, if you're not having any sort of like, you're not always like in a weird state of thinking about things that don't matter. You're not like just thinking about other people's lives all the time.
Yeah. Or if you're just like retired.
Yeah, like that. Exactly.
Like,
if
who
you're
cares?
just chilling,
go ahead. Spend all day on Facebook if you want to.
You'll know if it makes sense for you to cut it out. Hopefully, I'd assume you would know.
Right.
And if it does, then there's different ways to go about it. But if it's not a problem, I'm not saying social media is a problem for everybody or that it's a bad thing. There's definitely a lot of pros to it, and that could be a whole separate video. But
I was
you guys understand
I think
that.
We can also make this the part about quitting social media, but not actually doing anything with that extra time. We can almost make that a whole
different video. Yeah.
Because I feel like we had a lot we want to talk about here, but
doesn't make you successful.
No.
That's a whole different
it's not like
thing.
you're going to quit social media and suddenly your goals are going to happen. Like, you still have to take action. So.
Yeah, that's like if you wanted to put on muscle and you eat junk food now, just stopping the junk food isn't going to make you buff. You're just going to get back to a neutral, normal state. You still have to work out to build muscle, right?
Exactly.
But anyway, that was a video. I think we went way over time, but it doesn't really matter.
That's all right.
It's still fire.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. But I'm Kevin Breeze.
I'm Shawn Gill, CPA. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe, hit the bell notification, comment, get it lit for the algorithm.
And have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, have an amazing day. Peace.